we just had historical polling failure, the worst ever. 7%
exactly
was the failure rate.
Yeah.
And now you've got people tweeting things like, you're projecting Joe Biden won before certification, and you're also the ones who got the entire polling wrong. Of course, they're lumping the media together, of course. The various polling institutions all were polling ridiculous numbers against Trump. The race is extremely close, and the media runs full speed. Like Wikipedia has already put up on the president-elect page a picture of Joe Biden, which is like, wait. President-elect as a concept doesn't need a picture of anybody.
Well, I mean,
put Joe Biden
but
there.
Let's be clear about something. When Trump won in 2016, the media called it for him within a few hours. It was around 3 a.m., I think, the following day. So, I mean, this is not really that different. And there was still a lot of uncertainty, at least among despondent liberals, as to the legitimacy of the election. There were people demanding recounts in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, some of which did happen at the behest of Jill Stein, which was hilarious because she made millions and millions of dollars, mostly from Hillary Clinton supporters, because I don't think that most Green Party supporters, to the extent that they even exist, are that deep-pocketed. So, I mean, there's nothing unusual when the people now say the media called the election. I mean, that happens every election. That happened when Trump won.
Right.
The votes weren't certified. The states didn't certify the results in 2016 until weeks after.
I'm not claiming that Trump is, or let me put it this way. Yeah, when the media said Trump wins, Trump was like, I won. And now the media's like, Joe Biden's winning. He's like, no, he didn't.
Right.
But it's a formality.
That's why I keep going to, let's at least strive to have some logical consistency in how we see the world. I mean, that's one of my baseline desires in life.
But the issue is the media calling it, it's a formality. Hillary Clinton.
Well, the formality is when the states certify the results.
No. You can't be saying that the media decides who the president is.
Well, you said the media calling it is a formality. It's like an informality. It's when they're able to make a projection, they call it. And it's not formalized until the states certify the results weeks later.
What I mean is, to clarify, when the media calls it, it's just more of a tradition that the media says, we've projected the numbers, here's our winner. And then typically you have results where it's like, all right, I'm out. And the campaigns look at their numbers. They look at, Edison Research or AP and say, we see what the numbers are. This one was an extremely close race. And I will say the difference between Hillary Clinton conceding within a couple days is that we didn't have the results.
She conceded the next day.
But we didn't have the results until Saturday. So Trump was up. He couldn't concede. You know what I mean?
That's right. No, I think so. It would have been ridiculous. I mean, I think nobody would have expected him.
Biden would have had to concede it at that point.
Yeah, until at least it was quote called. But it is a little bit of a rewriting of history, though, to say that it's just the media calling it. I know that conservatives are really upset with Fox News, but like they are, they all did it simultaneously. So unless you're saying that
Fox was last, I think. But Real Clear Politics hasn't called it.
Well, I mean, does Real Clear Politics have its own
tracking system? It does.
Proprietary vote counting mechanism, like the Associated Press or Fox?
I don't know about that. I know that they have, just like I think most of these outlets use the AP or whatever, right? So they're not making calls; they're just tracking AP's numbers. But RCP has their map.
Like not all of them. I mean, the reason that Fox called Arizona, Fox called Arizona first, and AP did it a few hours later. Right. So they're using different systems, and they all did it pretty much simultaneously on Saturday morning because that's when a batch of Philadelphia votes came in that rendered it, they say, impossible for Trump to make up the margin, at least leaving aside any kind of fraud allegations.
So there was an article from July written by the co-founder of MSNBC that many people called they called it anti-Trump resistance porn. Like it was one of these articles that were like, Trump is a dictator. And they said it was called How Trump Can Lose the Election and Still Win the Presidency. Mm-hmm. And they said what would happen is there's 4 states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, and Pennsylvania, that have Republican legislatures. They're swing states. The argument was they'll go for Biden, but Trump will make some accusation about national security or fraud, thus locking up the certification process until the deadline, when the Supreme Court will then say, if we don't have the Electoral College certified by the 14th, then it goes to House delegations. And the House delegations are Republican. They would reelect Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. That's what this guy was warning of. Now, I think all of these arguments, Trump invalidating votes or whatever, House delegation, are long shots. But I'm looking at, Trump getting Trump's getting rid of the Pentagon, leadership. Maybe he's just on the way out. He's just saying, I'm going to get rid of all these people, whatever. He's mad. Or we heard that he instructed the federal agencies to produce their budgets for February as if he wasn't leaving. Then we had Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, saying there will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration.
And then I think he chuckled, which people were saying that meant it wasn't meant to be 100% serious. But then again, who knows?
But then it was announced that Trump is telling federal agencies, keep the budgets, don't change anything you're doing. So,
yeah.
Again,
like I mentioned before, Georgia is also a Republican state legislature, so that would be a similar scenario potentially. I think it was interesting. What was said yesterday by Bill Barr when he put out a memo authorizing certain investigations into
that's unprecedented,
fraud.
Right?
I believe so, but but the way that he worded it was very interesting because Bill Barr, if nothing else, is very astute at knowing how to almost manage Trump, because so much of what Trump has demanded vis-a-vis the Durham investigation into the origins of Russiagate or various other Justice Department initiatives, Bill Barr really hasn't delivered fully on. And there were even reports about how annoyed Trump apparently was with Barr in the past few weeks. And I think there's sort of a continuation of that theme here, because if you actually read the memo that Barr put out that was reported, he said that it is equally, notwithstanding that he authorized these preliminary investigations, he said it is equally imperative that department personnel exercise appropriate caution and maintain. Oh, sorry, not that. He said that while serious allegations should be handled with great care, specious, speculative, fanciful, or far-fetched claims should not be a basis for initiating federal inquiries. So why would he even include that proviso, if not as a kind of quasi-rebuttal of of allegations that he apparently believes don't have merit? So he's treading a line here where I think he's just trying to some extent placate Trump, but also maintain some mooring in the reality as he sees the election going in terms of the final outcome.
When they called the results on Saturday, I'm just thinking it's going to be another boring, Trump's finally going to be like, all right. He's going to throw a fit in some capacity. And then I thought we'd move on, but he's not. And then for a while I thought, at least for a couple days or a day or two, because it's only Tuesday, I was like, okay, Trump's probably just going to, drag it out. We're seeing reports that he's selling his helicopter.
Is he?
I don't know if that's true though, because it's hard to know what to trust anymore when you see these stories that come out, and this is normally I trust for the most part these organizations. I fact check them. But I can't fact check these claims that Trump's selling his helicopter. I can't go to a website and look up the sale of a helicopter. So I don't know if he's actually selling this stuff. But then we saw a story from CBS that Trump's fundraising for election recount, 60% first goes to paying off campaign debt.
Right.
I heard Keith Olbermann say that. I went to his fundraising site. It wasn't there.
I get those solicitations.
Did you see them saying?
And if you look at the small text, there is something that references that.
So what I saw, it said 60% will go to Save America.
I don't know if it was 60%, but there is a provision in there which says that some of this could be used to retire campaign debt. I think that and I felt this across the board for the Democratic campaigns and Republican campaigns. Don't bother giving them money at this point. The consultants are just drowning in cash at this point. It's ridiculous. Jamie Harrison, the Senate Democratic candidate in South Carolina, raised the most money for any Senate race ever.
And lost.
And it was in South Carolina, which is not a big media market.
And it lost in double digits.
It's like Charleston. It's not like he had to run in California. Right? So all you're doing when you go to your ActBlue donation page, which is how so many of these Democratic candidates get their contributions, is you're lining the pockets of consultants who don't have to even deliver on any of their promises in order to make the money that they're going to make. They probably are all buying Teslas now because you thought Jamie Harrison had a legitimate chance of beating Lindsey Graham in South Carolina.
And Graham won by double digits, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it was 13 points or something.
Totally crushed him.
And likewise, look, if you're a diehard Trump supporter and you want to pull out all the stops, do everything possible legally to prevent the certification of the votes before we're 100% sure that it's complete, okay, fine. But just know that you're paying the salaries of lawyers and consultants if you're clicking on those solicitations and giving money. And they don't even need your money. at this point. They have plenty of money.
Yeah,
they're just doing it because they can, because they want, because they have those email lists that are these, boondoggles that, they could squeeze every last drop out of you.
So thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.